In today's episode we are going to go over our slip knot and foundation chain, and we're also going to look at how to start our projects using a single crochet stitch. We are going to be using the Marriner yarn and a 6mm crochet hook. For the purposes of this tutorial I'm going to be using US crochet terminology, but I'm going to leave a link in the description box below for you to go and check out a conversion chart between US and UK crochet terms. To get started on making my slip knot, I'm going to hold the yarn, the tail end of my yarn, in my hand like this and just hold it down with my thumb. I'm then going to wrap it around my forefinger twice, not tightly, and then I'm going to take my second loop here and put it on over the first loop on over what was the second loop, and then that bit up and off my finger to create that slip knot. I'm just going to go over that with you one more time and then we'll get going on our foundation chain. So hold the yarn in the palm of your hand and wrap it around your forefinger twice, not too tightly. Take your second loop here, up and over the first loop. Then take the first loop up and over that second loop. Then you need to take that second loop there and just pull it up off your finger. Keep pulling until you've created that knot. Then you want to insert your hook into that loop and just pull it so it still has quite a bit of wiggle room, and get ready to crochet. Remember to hold the yarn in a way that's comfortable for you. I like to hold the loop on the hook with my ring finger and my thumb, and then hold my yarn to create my tension between my forefinger and my ring finger. And then you can just easily slide that yarn up and down your hook to create those stitches. So to create our foundation chain, hook facing downwards, yarn under, and as you're going under, your hook comes out facing the ceiling. So I'll just show you that again. So start with your yarn down, your hook down, underneath your yarn, and as you put your hook under your yarn, turn that hook around to face upwards so your yarn catches underneath this hook here. Then you just want to pull your hook back through that loop to create a chain. And again, so hook facing the ground, under that yarn, hook facing the ceiling, pull that hook back through the loop, keeping your foundation chain or slip knot steady with your thumb and ring finger. One more time, facing the ground, under, hook facing the ceiling, and pull that hook back through your loop. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a longer foundation chain, then I'm going to meet you back once you've chained 10 or 12 stitches, totally up to you, just so we've got a small sample piece to work with and you can follow along with the video easily. And then we're going to go ahead and create our first stitch, which is the single crochet. So once you have created your foundation chain, I've done a chain of 12 here. Your work should look similar. Don't worry if the loops are a bit loose or tight and they're not all the same shape. Tension with crochet comes over time, so the more you do it, the more you practice, the better and more even your work will be. To get started, we need to turn our work so our foundation chain is running back the other way. So we're working on it this way and now we're going to work on it this way. So to do a single crochet, we never count the loop on our hook and we generally miss the first stitch here, so that first V. So going back along your chain, you're going to go in the second chain from the hook, which is this one here. So we don't count the one on our hook, 1 and 2. And you're just going to insert your hook through and under that stitch there. So So I'll show you that one more time. So we've got our loop on the hook, which we don't count. Then we've got one stitch here, and this is our second stitch. And we're going to insert our hook into that second stitch. Then we're going to, just as this, in the same way as we made our foundation chain, under with your hook facing down and then facing up as you pull it out. Pull your hook back through, keeping your foundation chain nice and steady, just through that stitch. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. Then the same as the foundation chain, hook down to the ground, under, hook up to the ceiling, catch that yarn and pull it through both loops on the hook to create your first stitch. Now this looks like it's pulled up a bit, but that is actually correct, and it will come back down as we work along our row. So straight into the very next stitch. So we've just worked into this one here. Now we're going to be working into this one here. Insert your hook in there, just as before, down to the ground, under that working yarn, catch it and pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, then yarn down to the ground, under, yarn, hook up to the ceiling, sorry, and then catch that yarn and pull it through 2 loops, and that's your second stitch complete. I'm going to show you one more time. So we've worked into this stitch, we're going to work into the next one here. So insert your hook, and then you need to catch that yarn. So insert your hook and under that yarn, catch it and pull it through to create 2 loops on your hook, down to the ground, under, up to the ceiling, catch that yarn and pull it through both loops on the hook to create more stitches. So pause and rewind the video if you need to. I'm going to work all the way to the end, and when I get to the last stitch I'm going to meet you there and show you how to work on the next row. So I now have 1 stitch left, which is just here at the end. I'm going to work in it in the exact same way that I have all my other stitches. So into that stitch, catch that yarn and bring it through, 2 loops on my hook, then I'm going to catch the next bit and pull it through. Okay, this might look a bit gappy here. As you can see, there's quite a big hole. It's just where that slip knot is a bit stretched, so you can actually push your knot to make that stitch smaller or more even in line with your other stitches. So to move on to the next row, the first thing we need to do is bring ourselves up 1 row. In order to do that, we actually need to do a chain 1. So we're going to create like a chain from our foundation chain just to bring us up to the next row. So down to the ground with your hook, around, up to the ceiling, and just bring your yarn back through that 1 loop on your hook. And you have now built yourself up to work along the next row. We're going to take our piece of yarn and flip it over, and we're going to work on what's called the wrong side now. So this that we were just working on is the right side, and this is the wrong side. So into that very first stitch, the stitches will look a bit different from now on. So before we were working into that chain, now if you look at it from the top, just bring it a bit closer and hopefully you can see, we have got those V's. And instead of working just through 1, like we did in our foundation chain, we're going to work under both. So that is 1 stitch. I don't know if you can see there. So I'm under both parts of that V. So starting this row, looking for the first V, which is just here. So this V here is the stitch that we made to bring ourselves up, and this is our next V here. So we are going to work in exactly the same way. We're going to go under that V, grab the yarn and pull it through, 2 loops on the hook. Then we're going to grab the yarn and pull it through both loops on the hook to create that single crochet. Now again, working under the next V, we're going to work in exactly the same way under that V. So that's the V there, and this is the loop that we already had on our hook. Yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 to create that single crochet. One more time, under that V, so there's the V, we've got it on our hook, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So pause the video, I'm going to work to the end. When I get to the end, I'm going to meet you there. I'm going to show you how to build up to create the next row just one more time, and then you can go away and practice the single crochet. Now the last stitch on this second row can be a bit hard to see. It looks like we've got a little triangle on the end, and if we look at it from above, our last V is actually on that slant, so we do need to work in there. If we don't, then our work is going to be misshapen. So let's insert our hook just as before under that V, get it on our hook, yarn over and pull through that V, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook, and that completes our row. So just like before, to move up a row, we're going to create 1 chain, which is exactly like creating the chains in our foundation chain. So yarn over, catch that yarn and bring it through. And then you're just going to turn your piece of work, flip it over. So when you work on row 3, you'll be working on the right side of your work. And you're going to start in the exact same way. So you're going to find that first V of our row of stitches. This chain that we made doesn't count. So we're going to be working just in there, hook under there, bring the yarn through, and then yarn over to bring it through 2 loops on your hook. And you can continue in the same way to create your single crochets to the end of the row. If you have learned to successfully single crochet from this, we would love to see your stitch tutorial pictures, so you can tag us on social media using the hashtag Marriner.